Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from SegaCDUniverse.com. This is a video response / contest entry to my good friend Jonathan, aka PC Wizard 13, and his new channel is called the DreamcasticChannel. As you can tell, I love the Dreamcast, so that's he's got a great site, a great YouTube channel with some great content. So check him out. I'm gonna put his name down in the description so you can check him out. He had asked the question. What are some of the games that bring the most nostalgia to you that maybe you'll play now and you'll think back to certain events or maybe when you were a kid or whatnot? So a lot of games give me some form of nostalgia, even if they're sort of new. It doesn't have to be like really new, but I've played things on the 360 that now I play now and I get nostalgia from. But I think he was talking about more of an old type of thing. So I tried to go back. I wrote them down because I didn't know if I'd remember them all, but one of the first ones for me, some of these games I still own, I think actually all of them. Yeah, I still own them all actually, but I may have rebought them over the years or whatnot, but I don't have them at hand. Some of them are away, some of them are in a binder. All my Sega CD cases are up in bins, up in my loft, and then all my games are in a binder that I can just flip through if I want to pick out a game to play. So the first one is on the original Nintendo, River City Ransom. If you've ever played it, it's kind of like Double Dragon, but the characters are deformed. They also have a goofy sense of humor, where when you beat up a guy, they say weird things or goofy stuff, and you could upgrade your character and make him stronger and stuff. I'm pretty sure that element was in the Nintendo version, but I definitely know it was in the Game Boy Advance remake. But that always gives me a sense of nostalgia. My brother and I used to play it all the time as kids. We'd always rent it, and I always loved the game. And I bought a Retro Duo fairly recently, which is the Nintendo Super Nintendo combo, and that one of the first games I bought was River City Ransom on the NES. So it always makes me think of my brother when I was about maybe 5-6 years old playing Nintendo with him. Another one, and I'm going to jump all around in terms of, I'm not going in chronological order, is Blood on the PC. Blood was sort of like a Duke Nukem clone, but set in like really dark, areas. Like cemeteries and train yards. There was an evil carnival that had a lot of references to the Goonies. The funny thing was, Blood didn't take itself too seriously, so there was like an enormous amount of blood, hence the name. I didn't like the sequel much, but the first game is one of the first games I've ever played when I owned a PC. I actually bought a demo of it, or a sample disc, previous to even owning a PC that could play it, or I think owning a PC in general. Then when I got my PC, I ended up buying the full version, and then all the expansions I still have too, I think. And it's kind of like Duke Nukem. The guy has like a sense of humor. He says funny things. They reference like movies like The Goonies. I think one of the references might be to The Shining. I know one is to The Crow. So they reference a lot of like movies and other games and stuff. So if you like first-person shooters and you like a little comedy with a lot of gore, Blood is a great game. Really a lot of nostalgia for me. I was in my teens at that point. Another one for me is the PlayStation version, not the Super Nintendo Japanese version, but the PlayStation version of Clock Tower. Clock Tower is a game that was a side-scrolling survival horror game where this guy chased you around with these huge scissors. His name was Scissor Man. They came out with 2 sequels in America, and the second sequel was good but very Japanese, and the third sequel was good as well, but they went 3D with it. The first one is, in my opinion, by far the best. Very creepy, eerie, a lot of jump scares. He chases you around and you have to hide in certain places while gathering certain items, and just done very well. Anyone I played it with as a kid always got scared too. So Clock Tower is a great survival horror series I would love to see a comeback of. That reminds me of, I guess I was in like elementary to middle school, and I played it all the time. That was just a great game, really creepy, really good. Let's see what else here. Another one I wrote down was Sewer Shark on the Sega CD. You're going to hear a lot of duplicates here in terms of things I've mentioned in the past, because some of my favorite games are also some of my most nostalgic titles. Sewer Shark was a game me and my friend Nicky used to sit down and play. I went to his house, and for some reason Nicky always had the coolest, newest systems, and he had a Sega CD, and we put it on, and I've told this story numerous times now, and to me, I was like, wait a minute, this looks like a movie, this looks like a VHS tape, which was what was prevalent at that point. This can't be a game. And then you control the ship, and you're going around like an FMV kind of format. Well, definitely an FMV, not kind of, it is an FMV format. And you're going around and you have to follow these directions. And we kept crashing and dying because we didn't realize you had to follow directions. And you have to go different turns. But it looked so real that till this day when I play it, and I've beaten it many times over now, I think of my friend Nikki. What's up, Nick? When we were kids, we've been friends since we had been about 5 years old. Maybe younger, actually. I'm sure we were probably friends since we were babies, but I don't remember that. My parents have been close friends since they were in high school, so we've always been friends. So Sewer Shark's up there for me. Another one is Rise of the Dragon and Willy Beamish on the Sega CD, or another two. Willy Beamish, I was playing again with the same friend Nikki, and I had gotten really far. I think he stopped at one point, and I continued, and then I started using my computer to use facts on game facts and game winners, and I eventually beat it. But I kind of tied into my teenage years with playing with my friend Nikki simultaneously after I had moved out of the Bronx when he was still there, and we'd call each other up and say, hey, where are you in the game? What part are you up to? Eventually I did beat it. It was really hard. There were some really hard points in the game for me, but it's a great point-and-click adventure game that looks like a cartoon. The other one is Rise of the Dragon, which is another point-and-click adventure game that looks like a cartoon on the Sega CD, but it's more adult. It was based on, they're both PC titles initially that had been ported. Great music in both of them. My other friend Nikki was playing that game, and he had even given it to me when I got my Sega CD, or I bought it off of him or traded him something for it. This is a different Nikki, and I eventually beat that game as well. But that was just a lot of memories to being teenagers and trying to play these games and beat them. They're really difficult, and I don't even think we had computers at that point, where people had just started getting them. So it was really hard to try and figure everything out in these really difficult point-and-click adventure games. But great titles. And finally, sorry to keep this going so long, is Shadowrun. Now, I did a whole video about this last time, about how there was this older guy who was a teacher in my school, and this sounds kind of weird, don't take it that way, who, his name was Mr. Myers. I don't remember what his first name was. I want to say George, but I don't remember. And him and his wife would invite me over sometimes to play video games, or we'd go to video game stores in certain areas, during the summer when my parents were at work. And my parents knew them, they were friendly, so it wasn't like they felt weird. I must have been about between 8 and 12. They didn't have any kids, so I think they kind of liked that I was, that they had me around, almost like to watch and babysit. And he had showed me Shadowrun on the SNES, and I was just so into the cyberpunk universe, and I still am. It's definitely my favorite genre, that and post-apocalyptic. And he would show me this game, and I was so into it, but kind of creeped out at the same time, because the game was sort of eerie in a way, especially the music, and the fighting always seemed kind of intense with this crazy music, and it was very difficult for me. Eventually he moved back to, I believe, Pennsylvania, and he gave me his copy. I ended up selling it, but years later I rebought it and beat it more recently, about a year and a half ago, with my friend Brian Fury. I've mentioned him and have had him on my channel before. So I'm glad to have bought that back and beaten it. But while I was playing it, I was getting such nostalgia because of the music and the atmosphere the game brings. The Genesis version also has a ton of nostalgia for me. Some people will argue the Genesis version is better. I think overall I prefer the Genesis version. It's a little more easier, a little more pick up and play. It's a top-down action RPG, while the Super Nintendo game is a point-and-click RPG, but both of them have shooting elements, except the Genesis version you can kind of control the shooting a little easier. The Genesis version is a totally different game, totally different story. I had picked that up at a Blockbuster when I lived in the Bronx when I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I would just play it constantly. So, as I said, it's not really in chronological order because I'm jumping around here, but both Shadowrun games are just amazing, and I'm really looking forward to Shadowrun Returns, but more so Shadowrun Online, the Diablo-esque MMO that was created and kickstarted about a year ago now. So hopefully that comes out soon, because I'm a VIP in that jammy. So yeah, I'm sure there's more out there. I was trying to kind of limit it. I'm sorry this went a little longer than I wanted it to, but thank you, Jonathan, for the opportunity and the question, and hope you got some unique answers from me and from others, and hopefully I win. So thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from SegaCDUniverse.com. Be good.